Now, Rene, my next question for you is that it is interesting how the UN focuses on goal number 17, which is partnership for the SDGs, and which fundamentally affects the 16 goals that precede it. Um, what are the partnerships and engagement opportunities that are currently available for CSR leaders?
Another great question. I actually have to chuckle a little bit before answering that because I was recently at an event. It was a summit by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation, and it was their summit on sustainability and circular economy. And one of the speakers said, you know, we find the best partners in the places we never thought to look, and the best innovative solutions from where we never thought we'd find them. And so that resonated very strongly with me, given Pyxera Global's mission of reinventing how the public, private, and social sectors engage to solve global challenges. So it's right at the core of what we do, and that's looking for uncommon partnerships and amplifying the fact that it is uncommon partnerships that are needed to actually solve problems in different ways. Harriet mentioned earlier that we can't solve a problem with the same thinking that created them. And so it's by these uncommon partnerships, these uncommon connections that really do allow for uncommon solutions. So that just kind of resonated with me there. And I think if we look beyond those preconceived notions and assumptions that we have about working together with non-traditional folks, that's not obvious from the surface. I think if we can get past that, the possibilities truly are endless. One of the immediate tools or kind of resources, if you will, that come to mind as a concrete way that companies can work together specifically toward the SDGs is in joining networks like Impact 2030. And so Impact 2030 is one of the only corporate-driven networks formed in direct response toward these SDGs, and they connect companies for cross-sector and cross-industry collaboration, specifically on activating that human capital that I mentioned earlier. So engaging employees both in the traditional sense of volunteering, but then also at the skills-based level as well. And that's engaging them in local context, national context, and then, you know, international and global context. I think from an internal business perspective, simply speaking with and listening to folks, you know, as Harriet mentioned, at the micro, meso, and macro levels. So really listening to employees, customers, stakeholders, existing nonprofit partners on what they care about, what they're opening to doing, what they can bring to the table is a great place to start to get ideas and opportunities flowing. And it's that tool, if you will, that is at all of our fingertips, just stopping and listening, and then being open to those non-traditional partnerships and collaborations. I can give a quick example of two of our corporate partners who just came to the table open, willing to explore something new and non-traditional. One was a technology giant, and the other was a global healthcare company. And so we recently connected them from, again, a place of openness. And we together worked on a project in Chile focused on building more resilient communities in disaster-prone areas. So on the surface, you would look at the one company who's the IT giant and say, you know, you fit squarely in technology, computers, systems, infrastructure. Global healthcare company, you sit squarely in pharmaceuticals, you know, medical devices, you know, so we think that we know on the surface of how their resources would be best put to use. But when they came together, we actually realized that there were so many unmet needs in rural spaces that are affected by disaster that if they could only have access to, you know, the technology to foresee what these potential healthcare needs would be and what these challenges would be, that the healthcare company could then solve them before they even became, you know, a life or death situation or became, you know, that kind of that detrimental challenge. So in the spirit of building resiliency, it was about connecting, you know, these two companies and what their expertise and what their business is in non-traditional ways to solve these, you know, under-acknowledged problems that rose to the surface. So I think, again, simply stated, it's being open and it's not coming in from a place of thinking that we have the answers in and of ourselves or know all of the answers, but it's through that collaboration, it's through that partnership, it's through that being open that we really do find that we can come up with innovative solutions.
Thank you so much, Renee. It is interesting how you talk about looking beyond traditional partnerships and, in fact, internal silos in order to create greater cross-sector impact. And I love your point about looking for unmet needs. On that note, this